Hey guys, week 38. I just got back from the Badman, the first shoot. I know there's going to be another one in a few months, but yeah, pretty tired. I got back a couple days ago, or was it? Yeah, I got back Sunday. It is now. I'm recording this Monday, so I don't have that many entries for the pick a movie competition or the. I only have that many questions, so that's why there's a little light. I've been trying to record these on the weekends, or more so like late Sunday. So if you want to get in a question or get entered in the pick a movie competition or contest, it's best to do it right away, right when you see the link. And if you miss the question, no big deal. I'll just answer it in the next video, and if you missed the pick a movie, I'll enter you in the next week's competition, because that way, you know, if you miss 1 week, you'll get entered in the next one. I have 7 movies for you to review. I guess let's start right into this. First one I will be reviewing is The Glass Coffin. I had not heard anybody talk about this one. This is a Spanish movie. MVD released it. I believe it came out, was only released this year. Or last, probably 2017. I put this in and I didn't really expect much. It wasn't very long, so as I started, I was like, okay, I think I know where this might be going. We have this famous actress who gets invited to go to this award. She's getting like a Lifetime Achievement Award. It kind of like a bigger actress and whatnot. And she's in this limo. She gets in and all of a sudden everything stops. She's trapped in the limo. And this person starts barking orders at her to do all these things to do. I say try to find your inner actress and do all these crazy things. It turns into kind of like a Game of Death movie, but it gets bigger on a psychological level, and the twist is actually nice, and it kind of relates to who she is as an actress and who she actually is. She starts seeing like video footage of her saying things, and also stuff that she, didn't know she was being recorded when she said it. And of course it gets fairly brutal. And the twist in this movie at the very end, I was like, I started to scratch my head when the person who's actually pulling the strings comes out. I said, this is a completely different movie now. This does not feel like the movie that started. It was like this kind of like thriller, kind of like, I guess, torture. Not necessarily torture, but psychological thriller. And then it turns into this like bizarre, and it takes this turn. A lot of people have been saying this is like super chauvinistic and stuff like that, and I just don't really see it. I understand that it's a woman being exploited because she's an actress, but I think it kind of pertains to what happens to actresses in real life by a lot of, it's kind of doing a message to a lot of them. Maybe it was ahead of the curve about the producers, exploiting people here and there, and actors getting chewed up and thrown away and abused and used, and it does a lot of that, and it's fairly intriguing when you consider that it's all in one location. It all takes place in one location. With not much in there. Just this big limo trapped in there, and only a very small core of characters. There's not much as far as features are concerned on the disc, but I think it was fairly solid, and I thought that the actress did a tremendous job. I thought she was really good, and I thought the voice in the PA was creepy, and the real voice of the person was even creepier. It's almost like a monster movie when that person comes out. A completely different angle that the movie turns into. But that's Glass Coffin.
Amanda, asúmelo. Estás atrapada en esta limusina. ¿De verdad crees que eres una buena persona?
All right, the next one I'll be reviewing is also with, I think it came out 2014, 2015, but really wasn't widely available ever around here as far as I know. This I actually watched on Shudder. This is The Shrew's Nest. I saw the trailer for The Shrew's Nest, and I thought that looked very interesting, and I finally got around to seeing it. I was happy to see that it was on Shudder. I popped it in. It takes place during the 50s. This is a super strange, bizarre movie. Family psychological thriller. A lot of intense, disturbing stuff going on. We have this agoraphobic woman and who lives with her sister. Her sister just turned 18. The agoraphobic woman, she kind of like knits things outside of her apartment, how she makes a living, and she has a troubled past. She constantly seeing her father around. Her father's been dead for a long time, and her father is kind of this presence to her, this something deeply embedded in her mind. And when her sister turns 18, it has this awakening, this turmoil, this panic that, this is all she's lived for so long. She's much older than her sister. And she kind of almost snaps. She realized she has this religious presence that was embedded from her childhood. All these horrible things that are inside of her passed on from her childhood. The sisters have a very bizarre relationship. And what happens is this guy who's trying to, escape something falls down the stairs in the apartment building and breaks his leg, and the agoraphobic woman pulls him in and starts to take care of him. We have this misery situation where she has not really had much contact with people in general, especially men, so she wants to kind of become obsessed with this man and keep him a hostage without letting him know. And she starts to drug him, and then the sister forms a relationship with this man, and it gets even more complicated. As it progresses, you learn more about the psychological state of both of these people, and you learn how crazy and different this agoraphobic woman can actually become. She has a lot more problems going on, and there is a couple twists thrown in here. There's a lot of nasty stuff going on that happened in this family. And it's well shot. It's incredibly well acted. The lead actresses are great, especially the villainess, I guess I'll call her. She is horrifying. And when the blood spews in this, it's very bright. It looks so real. It looks beautiful because the way it's framed and everything about the movie, it just looks great. The blood looks great in it, and I was shocked to see that it got that violent. And the way that the deaths happen are actually intense and suspenseful. It's a highly suspenseful movie. I think that people would love it, especially I don't want to say it's as extreme as something like Inside, but it kind of reminds me of Inside in a way that it has this these great art qualities, and then these suspense qualities, and then these violent qualities. I love the twist in it. I love the relationship between the sisters. It has an emotional impact. And I was pretty devastated by the end of the movie. I would really recommend checking this one out. I'd love to see a United States Blu-ray. There is a German Blu-ray and a Spanish Blu-ray, but the German doesn't have English subs. The Spanish doesn't. It's kind of an expensive import. But it's called Shrew's Nest. You can watch it on Shudder. Really highly recommended stuff. I'd not heard really anybody talk about it. I would call it a horror movie. Has a lot of horrific elements going in there. Slight psychological / supernatural element, more psychological. But yeah, really recommended. Great stuff.
A todos los niños les gustan los cuentos antes de dormir. Cuentos terroríficos. Historias terribles sobre gente malvada que se aprovecha de los demás. Yo era la excepción.
Esta cruz la llevaba tu madre el día que nos casamos.
De rodilla. Estás completamente loca. Yo solo quiero protegerte. No entiendo cómo un hombre me puede hacer más daño que tú. ¡Desagradecida!
¿No te da miedo
¿El qué?
que sea ya una mujer?
Para mí no lo es. ¿Sigues aquí?
Estás preciosa.
Ella está enamorada de ti y no va a dejar que te vayas. ¡Salga de mi casa!
No tengas miedo. No se puede ir por la vida con miedo. No hay que tenerle miedo a nadie.
The next one I watched, I haven't seen in years. It's been so long. I have the embassy tape of it. It's the Supernaturals. I watched this on Amazon Prime. It looks awful. It's in widescreen, I believe. It's definitely maybe a cropped VHS turned into widescreen. The Supernaturals. Yeah, it's got a great story, or a great premise, I'll say. Years ago, these Confederate soldiers were captured by Yankees, and all of them were forced to march across a minefield. This young boy who was forced in there just because he was wearing the uniform, he has these special powers. You find that out. And the opening of this movie is actually really great. I don't want to spoil too much. Like I said, I already told you about the mines, but there's a little twist to it as well. And he has these special powers. Cut to the present time, we have these soldiers training in this area, and they realize there's some weird things going on. The soldiers include LeVar Burton, who's probably the biggest name of the bunch. The person who plays the drill sergeant, she's great in it. She's probably the best character of the film. But you also notice in the very opening of the movie, in the beginning of the movie, there's Lawrence Ferguson, I believe his name is, who plays Eddie Black in Darkman. He pops up in Neon Maniacs. He pops up in Menace to Society, and he's also in the Supernaturals. He's in this as well, and he's always recognizable. That deep bellowing voice. I think he's even in Prince of Darkness. I think it's the same guy in Prince of Darkness, I want to say. But love seeing him pop up and stuff. Great actor. Yeah, and that's basically it. Soon, these soldiers, the actors as far as concerned, the soldiers start to realize strange things are happening. There's this woman there who is from the past, and there's a supernatural element, hence the title Supernaturals. The Confederate soldiers actually start coming to life, but you really don't know why. It definitely involves that boy. It definitely involves the woman from the past, and the soldiers start to engage in battle with the soldiers. There's a couple decent deaths in here. Some pretty graphic stuff compared to the rest of the movie. They set up their characters for a long time. There's like a 45 minutes of setup before anything actually happens. It does hurt the film there. It is tad boring there. The actual look of the zombies is damn cool. There's a nice atmosphere with the fog rolling in and all the trees. So you got to give it points for that. Oh no, it's standard. I think that if this was on HD and looked a lot better, crisper, I mean, it looked good, you might give it some more points, and because the premise is so nice. But there's a good 15 minutes that should be cut out of this movie to keep the pace going and maybe add in some better, kills. And I think the movie would be actually a little bit more entertaining. I think it's fairly decent. The score points, I think I remember it being like a military style score, but then there's also the other stuff that feels like it's from like what's the word? A prairie home show or something that doesn't really feel in place. All in all, it's decent. It's on Amazon Prime, so if you want to check it out, because this movie is fairly rare. I do believe there is a DVD somewhere, a German one, but I don't have it myself.
Eine Gruppe junger Soldaten bei der Ranger-Ausbildung. Ein einfacher Spättruppauftrag in unbekanntes Gelände wird zu einem Albtraum. Zu einer Flucht vor unheimlichen Wesen. Rebellen des Grauens. Die Geister der Ermordeten steigen aus ihren Gräbern. Die Toten stehen auf, um sich an ihren Henkern zu rächen. Eine Jagd auf Leben und Tod beginnt. Ein grauenhafter Kampf ums Überleben. Nur zwei entgehen der blutigen Orgie, aber auch sie sind gezeichnet. Rebellen des Grauens. Die Hölle hat sie ausgespien. Und die Hölle verschlingt sie wieder. Rebellen des Grauens.
The next one, also from Amazon Prime. I actually like this one a lot better than the Supernaturals. I wouldn't say a lot, but quite a bit. It's on Amazon Prime. It looks much better. It is Blood Salvage. Yeah, I haven't seen Blood Salvage in years. Both these are rewatches. I was like, oh, it's on there. I'm going to check it out. Blood Salvage is definitely like a bastard child of Leatherface and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 and Motel Hell. It might have actually been made before Leatherface, but it feels like Motel Hell on that. It's definitely a Texas Chainsaw Massacre inspired film, and it has like a slight comedic kind of jaded element to it. We meet Jake, who runs this kind of he runs a junker. He has a junker. He picks cars up and fixes things and whatnot, but that's not actually what he does. Of course, it's this family of weirdos living out there, and what they're doing is harvesting people's organs. But Jake believes he's helping people because he lost a loved one because she couldn't get the organ. So he's harvesting organs of people that are healthy and giving them to this doctor, Ray Walston, to other people, you know, to get their organs. So he has this weird place harvesting organs, which is similar to Motel Hell, where they harvest the flesh of people to make, you know, sausages and whatnot. So it has that thing going for it. It's a family of three, one horrifically kind of, you know, violent son who he hates women completely, and then we have the half-wit son who you kind of feel sorry for, Jake himself, who's this kind of religious zealot who thinks he's doing God's work. Again, another similarity to Motel Hell. This probably would have worked well as a sequel if Roy Calhoun didn't bite it, but as this religious zealot, as he's you know, praising God for taking people's organs and helping the less fortunate. And we have a alligator, which is also really cool, which kind of goes back to another Tobe Hooper classic, Eaten Alive, but it's a crocodile. So it has all these similarities to Tobe Hooper stuff. It's definitely a love letter to Tobe Hooper, I would say. But saying that, the movie doesn't always work. It has some nice set pieces, and the main thing is a family gets kidnapped, this crippled girl, and he wants to help the girl. He has a likeness to her. She's always in beauty pageants. Her dad is played by John Saxon, which is great. He's great. The acting's fairly solid in the movie. And, like, I like the location. I love that they have an alligator, and I love that it's a killer family. It's better than a lot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels, to be honest. I think it's better than, it's probably on a caliber with something like Leatherface, but it's better than all the ones after that I've seen. So that's always cool. So, and it's like a zany, it's got a comedy element to it. It is goofy, it is weird, and it's nonsensical. Especially at the end, they leave it open for a sequel, and it's outrageous. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's goofy. It reminds me of stuff like The Carpenter with Wings Hauser. I would recommend checking it out, especially if you like that kind of psycho, hillbilly, weird stuff going on. It has its moments. It has some decent acting. It has some cool set pieces. It has outrageously silly lab equipment and whatnot. And like I said, it's not. It has a couple moments of blood and here and there, but it's not overly gory. And it has a cameo by Evander Holyfield, heavyweight boxer. So there's that going for it. It's just a weird movie, and it actually, like I said, it has two recognizable names in Ray Walston and John Saxon. I would check it out. It's fun. I always have fun watching it. Blood Salvage.
Strange things are happening at Jake's junkyard.
Helping people's my business, Up in. Great.
Things that no one can explain.
What do you suppose these stupid hicks know about fixing cars?
No!
Well, I imagine they know a whole lot about fixing cars. I mean, what else they got to do around here?
Things that no one can believe.
I won't take girl, and I'm gonna have her.
Do you think she's pretty? I think she's pretty.
What you want with a cripple, anyway?
Things that are only supposed to happen in bad dreams.
Come on in and meet the family.
What have you done to my mother?
Well, there's a little girl out in Salt Lake City who could use that heart. Might bring about 40, 45.
Mama! Daddy, help!
That's the last time we inviting strangers to dinners.
Why is your daddy doing this to me?
'Cause he wants to fix you.
Fix me?
Dang, Rib.
If you break down in Jake's neighborhood, say your prayers and run like hell.
They're drugged, right?
Kick 'em and see.
Please help me. I'm sorry. I can't.
Praise the Lord.
Another convert.
I'm gonna kill you. I made two walls, and the first thing you do is run out on me. Come on, you little whore. Now this is going to hurt.
I knew something like this was going to happen.
Blood Salvage. If Jake can't fix it, it's been dead too long.
Next one I watched was from Netflix. Yeah, I had seen the first Creep, but I'd heard good things about the second one, so I started watching. I thought the first Creep was okay, and I must say that I really enjoyed Creep 2. And Mark Duplass, again, picks up where he left off. If you guys remember Wolfie, he's a serial killer who kind of brings these people in on this facade that he's somebody different than who he is, and he likes to play these games. He gets off on the games, is really what he kind of does. And there's this girl who's trying to make it big in the blogging YouTube world, I guess I'll say, and she likes to go meet these Craigslist ads and talks to people and kind of exploit them for her channel, but not in a cruel way. She knows what she's doing, but she wants to, capture these interesting people. So she ends up answering Mark Duplass's blog, of course, or his Craigslist ad, and he brings her in and tells her he's a serial killer and he wants her to record his next kill, or he's getting 40 and he's going through a midlife crisis. So it's got this dark comedy element that the serial killer is going through this, this midlife crisis. She doesn't believe him, but she decides to go along with the ride anyways. And as it unfolds, you learn more about him and how weird he is, and you see him break down and see him actually get annoyed with her because the camera's kind of turned on him this time, so you get into his head, and it becomes comedic at times, but I also love it because she's super weird and their interactions are great. I love when you get two weirdos interacting with each other and it's not complete crap. It's not so fake looking and over the top. I like that sometimes as well, but when it comes to realistic, because Mark Duplass somehow can play this nutball but make it realistic, and she can play this realistic weird character as well. But as it progresses, you start to see that this is going to lead somewhere. You don't know who's playing who, where it's going to go, and the ending's great. There's times in this movie where I laughed out loud, times where I was like, whoa, that was pretty intense. I think it's better than the first. I think it's damn great, actually, for what it is, the way this is shot and everything. And it never looks like crap, although it is, the camera's held and all that. It never gets, jarring where you want to get sick or not. Maybe some people might see that. It doesn't look realistic enough, but I think it works in every aspect that it's trying to do, and I for what it is, I think it's tremendously well done. I love the performances, I love the twist, I love the interactions, I love where it takes the story, and I'm ready to see another one. I would really recommend checking out Creep 2.
I'm Sarah. Hey, welcome to Encounters. Sunday morning, I woke up. I'm Sarah.
Hey Sarah, how you doing?
The show where I look behind the strange world of online personal ads. What is their story? Who are these people? So subscribe and join me on this journey. You never know who you might meet next. Hello?
Hello. Ever since I turned 40, I've lost my inspiration. I have no joy. I'm having a hard time. What am I doing trying to make the films that I used to make? What if I make a documentary? And this is where you come in.
I have no idea what I'm stepping into.
Together, I believe we will make magic.
Aaron, is that you?
You are inspiring feelings in me. I don't know what to do. Oh my God. This is gonna be a good day. I'm very excited about it, okay? Yeah. Sunday morning.
Are you ready to go?
Wow, you're a tough nut to crack.
The next one is The Transfiguration that was on Netflix. I heard a lot of people talk about this one. I heard it on Mood's podcast and Shockwave's podcast. So I put this in, and it was always being like, it's like Martin in the hood, Martin in the urban area. And I was like, you know what? That sounds like something I would like. So I started watching it, and that's pretty much what it is. We have this young boy, I believe I can't remember his name, Milo, because his name is so bizarre. His brother's Milo and Lewis, and he lives with his older brother. Their parents are both passed, and they live in this apartment complex. He was in the military, so they, they do seem to have some sort of money, although they are living in poverty in an impoverished place. In the city, Milo is picked on. Nobody really likes him, and for kind of good reason. Milo's a strange character. It seems like a mild-mannered kid who doesn't really talk. He's obsessed with vampires, and he rates them basis on how realistic they are, which is kind of unique. He ends up going out and killing people and sucking their blood. There's a really great scene right in the beginning where he's sucking a person's blood in a bathroom stall, and somebody walks in, and they think a sexual act's going on in there, so he runs out. Really bizarre. He ends up befriending this girl who has been sexually abused and mentally and emotionally abused, and this white girl who is the only white girl in the neighborhood, pretty much, besides her grandfather. And he ends up befriending her. They start this weird kind of relationship, and she starts to learn about him, and he learns about her. And you learn deep down inside, Milo may not be as horrible as you think he is, as big a sociopath or psychopath as he seems to be. He might have some feelings below that cold exterior. And as it progresses, you don't really know what he's going to do. That's where the tension lies in this movie. Is he going to kill this girl? Is he going to befriend her? Is he going to go straight? But he has a calendar when he must feed and all these things, and he's kind of doing examinations on himself. It's really well shot. I love that it takes place in an urban place. There's not many horror movies that do that, and not many horror movies that do it well. And the very end, when the way they call him Freak, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a part that reminds me of Bad Lieutenant. That's all I'll say, by Abel Ferreira. It's part urban crime film, part psychological vampire tale. If Martin were to run into kind of like Clockers, you might get something like Transfiguration. I think it works really well, and again, it's kind of a sad ending, and there's a lot of symbolism, a lot of they talk about stuff like that. How she mentions the thing in True Blood, how he went and character stood on top of a rooftop and died, and at one point when Milo realizes that he's done something horrifically awful, he goes out and stares on the rooftop hoping that the sun will burn him alive. But they never, he doesn't, the rules are completely different. He doesn't know the rules, and he's always going on about a vampire just can't kill himself. It's just the way it is. But it's a damn interesting movie, and it's really well made, and I'd love to see what the director's going to do next. I also want to check out Aaron's Blood, because I know that is kind of like a low-key vampire movie as well. But Transfiguration, we're checking out for sure. Wish they would put out a Blu-ray. I'm not going to buy a DVD. Not doing that.
Have you been hurting any animals?
Maybe thinking, but I don't do it. Not anymore.
Wow, you're really into
Vampires.
I was gonna say scary movies.
So you heard, huh?
No. Someone killed a white boy in the basement.
So what are vampires like?
I think it starts with drinking blood. Like you have a need to. Eventually that's not good enough. So you switch to animals and people.
So you really like him?
Yeah, I do.
Whatever it is you're doing, there's someone doing a whole lot worse.
Why are you avoiding me?
And the next one is the pick of the week by Nick Mua. He picked M.F.A. I ended up checking this out. This is by the stars Francesca Eastwood. So that interested me, and I was reading the plot. I had my eye on it before. That the idea that he passed it and said, you should check that, I want you to do this one, kind of pushed me in that place to buy it. So I was like, I wanted to see it. He picked it. I'm just going to go out and buy it instead of renting it. So M.F.A. This is an interesting one. This is a rape revenge film. I love those kind of movies. I love revenge films in general. I'm a sucker for anything like that. Dark Sky released this one, and then it started, Clint Eastwood's daughter was kind of interesting. I saw the Scott Eastwood one. It was Clint Eastwood's son, the Western he did, and I thought that was fairly decent. Man, the Eastwoods all look alike. They have those wide cheekbones and those eyes that make them all look like they're werewolves to me. But, yeah, this one, she's an art student, and at times everybody's kind of pretentious. It started reminding me of something like Art School Confidential, and what happens to her is she's raped by this boy she's interested in, and she goes back to confront him, and something tragic happens. And much like people, that it starts off as a kind of an accident. Once they cross that line, there's no going back. She starts to look at other rape cases on campuses and realizes they're all ignored and nobody cares, and people are just getting away with stuff they shouldn't be and doing horrible things, and no one wants to ruin the rapist's life. Kind of like the swimmer who literally raped a girl in an alley and basically walked scot-free, and there's witnesses. This happens a lot. And that kind of thing going on here. And she decides to take vengeance in her own hand like any good Eastwood should. Look at Dirty Harry Callahan. So what she does is she starts looking in rape cases around the area and looking at the real brutal ones. Then she starts to go pick people off in ways seemingly accidents, like over drinking and things like that on this college campus. But then a cop, Clifton Collins Jr., starts to realize that these are connected. Something's going on. And that's kind of what we get. Her art starts to, get better from it, similar to Art School Confidential. How not necessarily got better from it, but the art became popular from it. She starts to get inspiration from actually carrying out these horrific acts. And it reminds me of the sequel to the remake I Spit on Your Grave, the direct sequel, I Spit on Your Grave 3, the sequel to I Spit on Your Grave 1, not part 2, that, she's going around and she's in these, help groups, and it has that going on for it, but it doesn't feel like a canon movie like I Spit on Your Grave 3 felt. It's much more serious. It has a good message in there about, somebody's going to have to pay for these crimes that doesn't really deserve to be punished. And that does happen in here. And, there are repercussions for your actions. The ending's pretty damn good. I like the speech at the end. I don't want to give too much away. But I think it's a good movie. I think that some of the deaths are fairly brutal, but not horrifically gory or anything like that. And the whole movie, I wanted Francesca Eastwood to kill more people because the people she's doing it to have it coming. I'd recommend checking it out. I think it's pretty cool. It's got, some nice music, needle drops in there as well that I think fit with the movie. It's shot well, and she's beautiful, and she's a fairly good actress. I was impressed with it. No real complaints about the movie. A solid rape revenge movie. Just the way I like them. I like almost all the revenge flicks. A solid revenge movie that I think is worth checking out, that kind of gets into psychological aspects a little bit, and the repercussions and the reasons why, and it just feels good when somebody takes the law in their own hand in a movie, because damn well you can't do it in real life, but you like to sometimes.
What are you thinking for your thesis exhibition?
I'm hoping that it invites the viewer to look closer at the emotion that's not typical.
Yeah, we're not noticing emotion. Let's jump in the deep end this year.
Can I see what you're doing? Cool, I like this a lot. So my roommates and I are having a party tonight. You wanna come?
Look at you, hot stuff. You meeting someone special?
There's this guy, but I don't even know if he's into me. Hi.
I actually feel like I might be moving away from painting.
But you're so good.
Are you sure that you said no and that he heard you? No. You told me you said wait. How much did you have to drink, Noelle?
Something similar happened to her friend. She told the school. They told her she was crazy.
I want you to say you're sorry.
Did you see Luke last night?
Yeah.
How long did you stay?
Don't let it ruin the rest of your life.
I'm sorry to just show up like this. Your story has really inspired me.
Your thesis is about my rapists?
Not just yours. Mine too.
You here all by yourself?
Not anymore.
Did you try to take advantage of me?
I know you like it. Meet a boy? Something like that.
He's one of the football players from that rape case last spring.
It's not your responsibility. The cops, they are not protecting us.
For every one of me, Detective, I'm guessing there are a few who never even tried. Why don't you start there?
You break the law, there's gonna be consequences.
I guess it depends on which law you break.
Now it's time for the drawing. There wasn't many, like I said, only a couple. So I added your name, Matt Godfrey, because you missed out on the last one. You should have been entered in the last one. Only got a couple here. And you didn't get it because I shot the video because I had to go to town. So what do we got here? We got Matt Godfrey. You get to pick the next movie. The person who will be picking the next, who already picked for last week was John William, and he picked Return of the Living Dead Part 2. So that'll be in next week's video. I guess we'll get into the Q&A. We have James Grimmer, whose question I missed last week. I have 2 questions regarding your acting experiences. What helps you get into character? Have you ever had a difficult time keeping a straight face when doing or saying something ridiculous? What helps you get in character? What helps me get in character? You know what really is a simple thing, and you wouldn't really think about it? Yeah, I do a lot of practices. I try to get a voice down sometimes, and I listen to the lines a lot, get them in there. But the one thing that really does it is a costume piece or something in the area that you can grab. Like if you put like a hat on that you normally would never wear, or like a coat on, or a necklace, or anything you can put on that does that. You just, for some reason, it's like a transformation, I think. Like that helps me at least. Like in the short I just did for Dustin a while ago, I don't know when it's be released, Paying Up. I put on I wanted this necklace I found. I said, this guy seems like he'd wear this necklace. And when I put that necklace on, I was like, I'm this guy. He's a douche. And I feel like a douche wearing this necklace. And that helped me. And stuff like that. But have you ever had a difficult time keeping a straight face when doing or say something ridiculous? Not really. One I know when I hear that action, 5, 3, 2, 1, you're it. Boom. Not really. I don't really. I tend to try to get all business when the action's called. You know, sometimes beforehand, you'll be joking, you'll be having fun on set sometimes. Although, you know, when you got to get stuff done, you got to go. If you got a lot of downtime, you know, waiting for setup shots and things like that. What else? Nick, you said you don't watch much TV, but how about great movies that became or inspired TV shows? Did you make an exception for those? I'm hearing a lot of positive comments about Ash vs. Evil Dead. I've seen the first episode of that. Thought it was fine, enjoyed it. I may. But it's not on my radar. There's so many movies I need to watch first. John Wilhelm, great videos. Always thank you for the opportunity to pick a movie for your review. In your opinion, what is the most underrated Lucio Fulci movie? Good question. I'm going to go with 2. I know Don't Torture a Duckling's popular, but I still think it's underrated. And The New Gladiators. Very fun movie. Very fun movie. Underrated. Good stuff. Let me hop right into the update. I guess I'll start with the Blu-rays. Let's get with the Vinegar Syndrome stuff. Lucifer's Women. Love Vinegar Syndrome. Penitentiary. I want to see that. Cool slip covers as well. What do we got here? Fugitive Girls. Silver Bullet. Still waiting on my Fair Game from Umbrella. But Silver Bullet's been a long time. I always love that movie, though. Panic from Code Red with David Warbeck. Yeah. I think it's a Melt movie. I'm excited. Apartment on the 13th Floor, a.k.a. Cannibal Man. I've seen this one. I have a Spanish import. I really like this movie. I think it's underrated. Opera from Dario Argento. I haven't seen this in a long time. Always dug this one. What do we got next? We got Jess Franco's Virgin Among the Living Dead. I've never seen this. Had the DVD for years. Never had a chance to watch it. Then we got a bunch of Gene Rollin. I picked up Lips of Blood, which I watched on Shudder. Like this one. Night of the Hunted. The Iron Rose. I have a lot of these on DVD, but I upgraded to Blu-ray. Fascination. 2 Orphan Vampires. I went all out, guys. They had a good sale. Deep discount had a 15% off. The Escapees. The Demoniacs. The Demoniacs. That word for me is it's just give me a tongue twister for some reason. The Living Dead Girl, which I really enjoyed. And this set right here, the Cinema of Gene Rollin, the Vampire Collection, which includes 4 vampire films. The Rape of the Vampire, the Nude Vampire, the Shiver of the Vampire, and Requiem for a Vampire. And then we have a DVD which John Williams sent me because he's super nice. 1031. It's an anthology. Takes place on Halloween. I'm excited to watch that. It'll probably be a next week's show. And he sent me a Puppet Master 3 cards. I'm not opening these. I want to, but I'm going to keep them in the package. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, subscribing, reviewing. If you want to enter the Pick a Movie competition to pick a movie for me to review, please do so at the Screaming Toilet page. Then the link will be below in the description box. If you want to ask a question, please do that at the same place. I'll probably try to have a contest pretty soon for a couple things. But I really appreciate you guys watching. And as always, you guys have a good one.